Oh, I'd like to tell you an interesting story about one of our fellow Americans, my fellow American, Imam Vikash. And I had met the Imam before in interfaith events in Fort Worth, Texas. And we hadn't had much personal time, but I heard this fascinating story about what happened after 9/11. And he was apparently shopping in a Costco, didn't know what was happening, but happened to look on the television sets that were displayed and saw the World Trade Center tragedy, and then heard the connection and the speculation and knew that he was going to be in for it, so to speak, and was rightly concerned. And so he went back to the Islamic Association, Tarrant County, which is the largest mosque in Tarrant County, Texas, where Fort Worth is located, and called his board members and encouraged them to come and stand by, prepared himself for the onslaught of media interviews that came. And one of the things in the story I read about this is that some of his board members were afraid to come. Some of the members of the mosque were afraid to come. The African Americans were the least afraid to come, but those who are of Middle Eastern descent were afraid of what might happen. And then after one of the interviews, an unlikely set of assistants arrived in the form of the Reverend Ken McIntosh, who is the director of the Tarrant Area Community of Churches, which is an ecumenical organization. And he had with him 14 other religious leaders from the county, many of whom the Imam recognized from other interfaith events he'd been in. And this group of clergy literally took turns guarding the mosque. So, in saying, if you're going to get to them, you have to come to us. And the term of shoulder to shoulder, to me, it means that you stand shoulder to shoulder with someone and you say, look, I'm his friend, I'm his fellow American, I'm going to stand by his side. And you may have a problem with that, but if you're going to, do something to him, you're going to have to take on me as well. And I like that, shoulder to shoulder. That's true solidarity. And I just applaud Ken and my fellow colleagues there, all of whom I know well, for that inspired action. And I would have been there, but I was in England at the time. In fact, I was in London on the tube, visiting, of all places, Winston Churchill's underground bunkers that he stayed in during World War II. And I was due to come home later that day and was unable to because of 9/11. So I finally did come home. And then I learned that Ken had followed up on that by every Friday, at the Friday afternoon, evening prayers, that he was visiting the mosque. And so I joined him for several of those visits. And it was so interesting to me to go with him into the mosque, to take off our shoes. Some of it we participated in, but other parts just seemed wrong to us to participate in. And it's a rather large mosque, a lot of people. And one of the things I was struck by was the diversity, was how this was not a homogenous community, that just like America, we have all these diverse ethnicities and skin colors and professions, and that's what I saw in the mosque. And one of the things that I admire about Islam is this willingness that everyone submits to God. Everyone is obedient. And it doesn't matter whether you're a plumber or whether you're an attorney. Everyone submits. And so that was a powerful experience to me. And I talked to the Imam briefly on the way out, and he expressed gratitude for us being there as a sign of solidarity. And we didn't have a lot of interaction, but I felt good about what we had done, that witness.